10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Good evening, good evening, good evening. Hey, it's another week. This is the Bills Pressure Front Podcast. I'm your host, JT, with my co-host, Lorenzo Alexander. So, what's going on, man?
Nothing chilling, man. Just got back home from flag football practice. Still getting these young boys right and young ladies right out here. So things are good my way. Starting to get a little chilly, though. You know, it's not Buffalo chilly, but it's chilly for AZ. But other than that, man, just getting ready for Christmas and just the holiday season. And in fact, today was able to partner up with the Bills organization as well as Microsoft. And we actually provided a service to a family over at the Bell Center, amongst some other goodies, Bills memorabilia, board games, Legos, some coats for the winter, some gift cards for food. So it was really cool to continue that partnership with the Bell Center in conjunction with those two other organizations. So that was real cool. And then we also have something cool with Avalon Sports too, with me, Zach Moss, and Thurman Thomas linking up to help raise money for the Lackawanna Life Center. So the holiday season is in full effect, and being associated with those two gentlemen, obviously Thurman Thomas, but even a young guy like Zach Moss who really gets it at an early age, it's really cool to start developing that partnership and relationship with him.
Yeah, actually, I got the video, you guys, so you guys give the information there.
Hey, BillsMafia, it's Zach Moss. I recently partnered up with Lorenzo Alexander and Thurman Thomas and the ACES Foundation to raise money for the Lackawanna Life Center. I'll be giving away my custom cleats that I wore during pregame against the Steelers. Take a look below and see how you can participate. Go Bills.
Hey, this is Lorenzo Alexander, Buffalo Bills legend, and I've teamed up with Zach Moss and Thurman Thomas to help raise money for the Lackawanna Life Center. Yeah, those are dope right there. And I know a young man made those for him too, so those are real nice.
Yeah, I got a chance to talk to the young man, meet him a couple weeks ago. Really ambitious kid, young Mac. And if you guys are interested in learning how to get in, I mean, they got it posted, and also the link is in the show for the PayPal to donate to the Lackawanna Life Center to get in to get those dope cleats, man. So there was a couple things we got to talk about this week. Obviously, the Bills came off we'll call it a signature win, another signature win, I guess, against Pittsburgh. We had some crazy comments from Domonique Foxworth of ESPN, and we even got a little bit of trash talk from Denver, Drew Lock. Kid got a little fire. I kind of like it. I don't want to talk about that. But I want to take it back to the Steeler game, right? A lot of people was upset about this JuJu Dance on the field, man. And I got to get from a player perspective. Did you take it as disrespectful? I mean, like he do every field.
I actually didn't even see the clip. I heard a lot of people talking about it, and it's all about how it was presented, right? Like, is he out there doing JuJu, or is he actually out there trying to disrespect the flag, similar to how T.O. did when he was scoring touchdowns in Dallas and would run out to the star, right? And like, all eyes on me, and Emmett had to let him know. So I get, because this right here just tells me this is a dude dancing. I can't see everything leading up to it. Now if he's out there being disrespectful, then yeah, hey, some words is going to be talked about in the locker room. Obviously, we heard what Josh was saying when he came out, led the guys out, and it just adds a little extra fuel to the fire. From what I heard, though, just talking to some guys and some people that was on the sideline, that, the Steelers were just talking a lot of trash just in general. So I guess if you put it in with that mind frame, that context, he probably was trying to be disrespectful. And that's just me just kind of putting two and two together. And so, yeah, you're going to rile the boys up. And hey, the boys came out and showed out on them. So they shut them up. And that's what you got to do when guys want to disrespect you in that way or talk trash. You just let your pads do the talking. Your pads and the way you out there balling and ultimately winning the game.
Right. I mean, no better way to shut up than to come out there and get that W, right? I mean, and they didn't just get the W. I mean, I thought for the better part of the second half, they pretty much they dominated Pittsburgh, in my opinion.
Yeah, they dominated that game. I mean, it really, I think, turned when Taryn got that pick six and took it to the house, because it was kind of going back and forth and, kind of trying to get a feel and flow of the game. And then after that pick six, you could just, I think, see the air getting taken out of the Steelers, and the Bills never looked back. It was like a slow ascension the rest of that game, and just seeing that dominance was really cool by the guys. Not finally, but being able to compete and play well, and even at times, as you mentioned, dominate a perennial playoff team, a well-coached playoff team, and a Mike Tomlin coach football team was really encouraging because they're starting to take that next step, gain that momentum. You see guys continue to play better, get better. Josh is still doing his thing, dumping that ball all around. And this was a Steelers team that we talked about. They're going to sit back or they're going to come after him. They trying to come after Josh. They was trying to light him up. And just like he did the week before, cool, calm, and collective, stayed with the game plan within himself, digging and ducking, hit my man Diggs going big. And they just did a really great job of overcoming, especially early on, some of those mishaps with the ball, be on the ground. But the defense stood up, which was huge. And it was just a good game, from start to finish to watch.
And, speaking of, coming out of Josh, they definitely made the proper second half adjustments. I mean, I think in the second half, he started off 11-11 or 10-10. And I believe he had 148 yards second half with 2 touchdowns and like maybe six missed passes. So, I mean, they was on fire. And he found our boy Diggs, man, who's about to smash every Bills single season record that there is to date. I mean, what else can we say about Stephon Diggs and what he brings to the table? And he had some pretty interesting comments this week, too, from ESPN Magazine about being, mentally, just kind of it was tough on him in Minnesota last year. And I want to get your opinion on that as well.
Yeah, well, I mean, I didn't read his comments, and let me know what did he say about
he pretty much after he signed they kind of went to a power run scheme and kind of surprised him because now he's, but then he's just in a dark place because he just didn't know what his role was in the office. And I wanted to get your take on as being a professional player and just mentally being in a dark place and trying to play because people think money fixes everything, man.
Yeah, I mean, it can be hard, and obviously his path to the NFL is much different than mine, and so it's hard for me to speak to a guy of his caliber and where he was at, and obviously being one of the most dominant receivers in the game, and then feeling like you're not being utilized based on what you can contribute, and really being a game changer as we're witnessing right now in Buffalo and what he's done for this organization, for Josh, this offense. And really this team and how well they're playing offensively. And when you have that ability inside of you and you feel like the team may be going in a different direction as far as, what's priority. And then, and I don't really know Steph that well, but I mean, things can come into play with that, ego, competition. I'm a competitor. I want to be used. And you have to kind of work through some of that stuff, especially when you've been an elite guy and you feel like you're not being utilized. It's hard. It is a little bit of a transition and mentally trying to figure out, okay, now how do I deal with this new scheme or this new direction based on knowing what I can do. I'm not really happy because I know I can do more, but I'm happy for maybe my teammates because we're winning, and you kind of find yourself in a weird place. And so, I was never in that place. I was always the guy. I was just trying to scratch. And so any little bit I got, I was happy. But I can't understand because I have been there where I had, risen to a certain level. And then you feel like you're kind of being pushed out. They're not quite telling you that, but you can feel it. And it is definitely something unique to deal with, especially if you've never dealt with it before, And so when you start elevated, high draft pick and all that, sometimes it's hard versus a guy like me. I came in from the bottom. So, okay. I know what this feels like. This is familiar, the bottom, but I put you back down to the bottom. Oh, don't worry about it. I got something for you. I've been there before, so just a different perspective. And obviously he's learned from it, grew from it, and now he's in a much better place. Obviously he's not with the Vikings, but if that ever happened again, or even maybe in some of those weeks where he wasn't featured as much or not getting the catches, like maybe let's say Cole Beasley was, where he was sometimes like the guy.
Yeah.
Maybe he was able to mentally kind of grow from that based on something that happened in Minnesota.
Yeah, I love seeing when guys are just being very, very transparent and opening it up because I think, as fans, on the fan side of it, sometimes we think that, oh, these guys are making $millions of dollars, they shouldn't have any problems in the world, and that's absolutely not true.
Right.
And two, football is a warrior type of sport, so you expect everybody just to be tough and rugged all times. In reality, still human, man. Still have emotions and feelings and things like that.
Yeah. You're right about that. I mean, it's very much emotional game. I mean, that's how guys are able to, rise above a lot of stuff. And also it can be the detriment at the same time. And you have to learn how to balance that out. Because like you said, money is the value that's been placed on my ability to catch balls or tackle people or rush the passer. But there is a more significant human element to that, to who I am day to day and how I approach. I want to be the best. I want to be very competitive. I want to have an opportunity. And money it doesn't satisfy those things. It takes care of things at home and be able to provide for your family and friends, but that doesn't satisfy that competitive nature, that warrior mentality, as you mentioned, as far as when you go out into work and you want to show that I am the best every single day.
I agree. So before we move on to this Denver game, and I actually want to talk about Darrell Williams a little bit, because we actually, if you guys didn't catch it on IG, last week when we went live on Zoe's IG, I spoke about Darrell Williams. All of a sudden, he comes out this game and, he shut TJ Watt down, man. I mean, it was great seeing him get back to all-pro form after battling injuries for a couple of years. So we had this comment, man, from Domonique Foxworth that just, gave BillsMafia, just send them up in arms, and it was really bad. It was just the point where he was pretty much saying that sometimes he found himself openly rooting for Josh Allen to fail for the simple fact that he felt like a lot of people who defended Josh Allen were people who had dogs and American flags and were possibly Trump supporters,
right?
As supporters, and it just sent BillsMafia up in the war. And I mean, I don't know how much money we about to donate, but we know we have to donate something because that's what we do. That's what we do. So.
Yeah, man, and I know Dominique loosely just from NFL PA and being around him, and so I mean, I know a little bit what type of dude he is, but this wasn't his best moment. It was ignorant in a lot of ways to make a statement like that. And I say ignorant because he's probably not aware of the makeup of BillsMafia in totality, right? And so that statement was made in a vacuum on social media based on tweets and comments that were probably, or DMs that was made directly to him by individuals on social media. And for him to then encompass the entire BillsMafia family or group or fan base and boil it down to Trump supporters and dogs and American flags, or, whatever he was trying to derive by mentioning those things, whatever he was trying to come to, I think just was very short-sighted and ignorant in a lot of ways, just because he doesn't know BillsMafia. He could have probably generalized it like most people I come in contact with, or whatever. But it's just not very smart to say because BillsMafia is much more than that. And Twitter is not the best place to say those type of things either, especially being who he is and his platform and ESPN and being a former player. And it's just not a good look. So hopefully he maybe revisits that. I don't know if he's apologized or anything since then, but explain himself a little bit better, because I know you mentioned he said his words got taken out of context, which happens. But I listened to it. I listened to the audio, and I'm like, okay, maybe I didn't get all the audio. I didn't get the whole 3-minute interaction around that. So this wasn't his best moment. Hopefully he realized that and move on. I don't think it's nothing to dwell on, but it's just, most people are ignorant to Buffalo in general, right? And then the makeup of BillsMafia and what that looks like. Because I'm a huge defender of Josh Allen. I'll come to his aid, quicker than anybody. Obviously, I'm his teammate, but I don't think I fit in that box that my man was trying to create when he was using those descriptive words, right? So it's probably just his experience with people that have the most vulgar things to say when he has something bad to say about Josh. So I'm gonna defend him a little bit, but I don't think it was the best thing to say.
Right, and me personally, like I said, I always want to give someone the benefit of doubt, especially doing media. And as I'm new to this game as well. Things you say can be taken out of context, and I would like to go back and listen to the whole pod. But the clip I listened to, like you, I'm waiting for it. And I'm listening to like, hey, well, where's the miscommunication here?
Right.
you know, and like you said, I agree with you. People are ignorant to Buffalo. People don't even know where Buffalo at on the map half the time.
Yeah,
To
yeah,
be
yeah.
completely honest, to be completely honest with you. So it's just like I think the broadcaster from the Ravens last year that said that, you know, Bills Mafia were kind of ignorant, and then they found out he wasn't. They donated hundreds of thousands of dollars to the charity, and he cried on
Right.
air thanking them.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah. I
so
remember that.
so you know, Bills Mafia do what we do. Get your checkbooks out ready. Get your PayPal's ready.
Give it to the Aces Foundation or the Lackawanna Life Center, though. If we're gonna do it in the name,
Okay,
we'll do
yeah.
it in the name of him to these organizations that serve in Buffalo. All right.
Right. Right.
Keep
Yeah.
it at
Right.
home.
Right. Put a little dog. You know, you have little Christmas cards. Had these little nice stickers. Now put the little dog on there.
Right.
You know, we call it a day. But yeah, no. We'll see what happens with Dominique. And like I said, I would love to see more context on what he said to come back. Like I said, Dominique, he doesn't back down. He's in my opinion, he's a good analyst and a good reporter.
Right.
So, but moving on. Neither there or there. We're moving on from it. This going back to this Pittsburgh game, this defense has seemed like they've woken up. I mean, you woken up a giant. And even with the JuJu Dance and thing, it seems like this team right now is using anything that they can use as bulletin board material, fuel, whatever you call it, to get angry and play angry. As a player, did you ever find ways, and you know, to find things like, you know, I gotta get me some bulletin board material, and why do you think this defense is resurging like this? You know,
Yeah, for me, I mean, I never could get that because it's not consistent. Because somebody's not going to do something every week to get me upset enough to now want to go smash your mouth in, right? I wanted to have that mentality from jump, and no matter who I was playing, whether it was somebody that was my boy and we kicked it in the off season, or somebody I may not have liked just over the course of a career, I thought he might have been dirty or whatever. But I didn't want to have to depend on somebody else to create something in me to then go play at a certain level, and so. And even when I was younger, even in college, you know, you're trying to get angry and trying to find something. Sometimes I'm not angry or upset. So my source came from my relationship with Christ, right? And so everything that I stepped out on was trying to play with the Spirit of God, love, power, and a sound mind, with the intention of honoring Him by the way I played. And I knew if I got even close to that or made God even turn His head, like, okay, well done. I knew I was balling out that day, right? And that's something consistent. And so as much as bulletin board material is cool to talk about, and, you know, it's kind of fun to go back and forth and like, man, why that dude out there dancing like that? Or why did Baker Mayfield plant a flag? Or, you know, whatever you may do to upset the opposing team, guys don't do it every week. Or it may not even, you know, fans may care about it, but it may be something I don't really care about. So that's how I, you know, kind of got myself going. And then, you know, while I was in the locker room, trying to get guys to understand that too, because you can't always be angry. You're not always angry, and it's easier to play with passion and love for the people around you, especially if you're going to put it to something like connected with God or your wife or your kids. And that stuff is, you know, forever. And it's much more sustaining than being angry. And I don't have to search for it, right? It's right here every day, and it's growing. It's constantly growing. Where eventually I want to get over the anger, right? I want to be able to let it go.
I agree. I mean, I think at sometimes, you know, when you play anger, my mom used to always tell me growing up, you know, if you're playing angry sometimes you're not playing in your sound mind. And if you're playing angry, you're not focused like you should be. So I can get it from that standpoint. Was there a time where you had teammates that may say something in the paper, say something, you get team bullet board material, then y'all come out, y'all lose that game, you're like, hey, bro, don't do that again.
Man, I'm sure it is, and I can't pinpoint, like, something in my brain is saying, yeah, that's happened. But I was a younger player, and I can't remember who it was, but it was definitely when I was in Washington, like somebody guaranteeing a win, or we gonna shut this player down, and they come out and ball out on us. I remember a couple of times, like nobody actually said anything, but like pregame. This was 2000 and I don't know, like 10 or 11. LaRon Landry might have been his first or second year in the league. And they all got into a fight pregame. We were playing Philly. Kind of on the sidelines, we're going in pregame right before the game. And come out, do the coin flip. Philly gets the ball first. And they run play action pass, shot right at LaRon Landry. D-Jack, when he was running that 4-1s. Touchdown. First play of the game. the rest is history. And so that's the one time that pops to my mind where one of my teammates did something, incited the other team, and shut us up fairly quickly. And Sean will never let me forget that they blew us out that night on Monday Night Football. So that was one time where guys on my team said something that he shouldn't have been doing and couldn't, because he couldn't back it up.
You know what's funny is on my Facebook watch, the explanation of that play right there just popped up on my thing. I watched that 72 hours ago, man. And the D-Jack explained what happened before, man. But yeah, it's like, Buffalo's a good football team. And now you got people like Colin Cower, and I'm gonna say it out loud. Colin Cower is now jumping on the bandwagon. All year he said the Bills weren't real. They wasn't, a top team. They didn't play anybody. And all of a sudden he's lighting a victory cigar after they beat the Steelers. Talking about Steelers Nation. I told you. And look at his comment. The Bills are the best team in the NFL right now. I mean, I'm just like, man, these people will say anything. You just say we ain't play nobody.
Yeah, they got to shift. I mean, actually, when you look at the Bills' schedule, I mean, they actually have one of the best records as far as against teams with a winning percentage. I think the combined record is maybe 2 or 3 games over 500.
Yeah.
As far as the team that they've played, and that's pretty significant. And it just shows you the type of caliber of people that they're playing week in and week out. And so at the end of the day, it really don't matter who jump on the bandwagon. If you want to jump on. Because these boys is rolling for real right now. And if they can continue to have this slow ascension and continue to get better, especially defensively, continue to cut down on the margin of error, this is going to be a scary team to be able to play when it comes January.
Especially because now you're starting to get the running game. And like I've been saying the last couple of weeks, the running game, it hasn't been ultra effective. Like it hasn't been, 4.2, 4.3 yards a carry, like as you were saying last week you want them to get to. But it's been efficient. They've been able to move the ball, move the chains. And as you get to this weather coming down the street, we know Buffalo's going to have a home playoff game, and it probably going to be pretty weather that day.
Right. Yeah, and to be able to close out games like they did last week. I mean, versus the Steelers. I mean, they had a 7-minute drive. I mean, you ground and pounding that, getting first downs, methodically running the clock out. That's impressive. And that's one of the main reasons why Sean McDermott really emphasized the run game during the bye week. It's not necessarily that you need it for the game, just the way this team is built. They'll spread them out. I'm a dink and dunk. I'm going to take my shots down the field. I'm going to mix in some run game, but that's not who they are at their core. But they want to have the ability when, hey, it's time to run the ball, or, hey, man, we can't throw the ball today. We need to be able to run the ball. You got to have that in your arsenal to keep teams honest. And so to be able to methodically run the clock out at the end of the game and utilize the run and see Devin and see Zach run the ball the way they are and continue to get better, that is like the last piece to shore that thing up to where this team is going to be, nobody wants to touch us right now. So they doing the right thing. It's going the right direction, and all about that growth mindset where every week they're continuing to get better.
And the thing is too, since they didn't ground upon the ball for most of the year, we said it earlier in this year, those are fresh legs going to playoffs. And we've seen some teams that just grounded and pounded their way straight to the Super Bowl with fresh legs. I go back to the Carolina Panthers Super Bowl berth, not with Cam Newton, but with Jake Delhomme, when they had Deshaun Foster and the boys just running. But they were fresh legs. They just ran all through the playoffs.
Right.
So, but moving on, we want to get on to this Denver game. Now, I like Denver. I like them as a team. I like what they're building. They remind me of where Buffalo was a couple years ago. Doesn't mean they're going to take that next step, or they're going to take a step back. I don't know. It depends a lot on the quarterback play. But Drew Lock is he's a gamer, man. He reminds me a lot of Josh with his attitude.
Yeah. I think they may even work out together because Jordan Palmer, I know, trains Drew.
Does he? Okay.
I work with Jordan on another network, the Stadium, and he was really high on Drew and this team, especially when they got Jerry Jeudy in the draft. Just understanding what Locke had and his abilities, and these boys really be able to push the ball down the field and take advantage of some matchups. Because when you look at, just their entire package, they have some guys that can go out there and ball, especially when you throw in Fant, who's a mismatch at tight end. These guys can chuck the ball around. And, obviously they're still young and still trying to grow into who they are, but they can explode on you at any point in time. And so these are one of the teams that, their record isn't that good, but like you said, they're playing some solid football that if you're not on your P's and Q's, they can jump up and beat you.
What's surprising about the kid, and on the left side of my brain says, I love this kid's moxie. I love his heart. I love a quarterback that's going to lead by example, lead with swag. I love it, especially in this day and age. But he made a comment about Trey White and said, I'm not going to stay away from him. And I agree. You got to go out there and play the game. But once again, bulletin board material.
Yeah. I mean, like for me, it would have made me upset. Hey, Trey, he's going at you. I'd have been talking trash to Trey all week. Man, I'm going back to Trey. Watch out. You better get ready. Get your I'd have been pumping Trey up a little bit on it and kind of laugh at him. But yeah. So Trey's he's gonna be locked in. That's one thing you don't really want to do. You don't want to poke the bear of a dominant player. Sometimes you just let them dudes just go out there and let them just kind of be asleep, right? Obviously Trey's going to go out there and compete, but you don't want to poke a dominant dude. And it reminds me of, I used to always tell guys, because I played with this guy when I played my rookie year in the league, and this is a dominant receiver. But I used to always tell people, hey, leave Steve Smith alone. Just let him be him. Just go out there. I'm over Oakland. Hey, don't talk to him. Don't do nothing. Just let him be, right? Because you poke a bear, he was a guy that would wake up, right? And so I remember this one time I was in Oakland, and some young returner, it might have been even TJ Carey if I remember correctly, because he was a punt returner too. He was out there, and he said something to Steve like, man, you in my way catching my balls. And Steve at this time is a 15-year vet. And when I tell you Steve Smith dominated anybody that was over him and talked trash and talked about their mama the whole game, it was embarrassing. So I say that to say this, is that Tre'Davious White is a monster, right? He is an elite corner, top is in the league, and you don't really want to poke a bear. You don't want to give him any extra fuel that he already has intrinsically to go out there and dominate the guy in front of him, because the crazy thing, Drew Lock doesn't even have to touch him physically. He doesn't have to look at him, doesn't have to try to block him, but he's making it harder for his receiver. So his receiver didn't even say nothing, and now he's making it harder for his receiver because he had to open up his mouth. So those type of dudes you just kind of let go by. Yeah, I know you're not scared of him. We know that. Just say, hey, man, I respect him. Hey, but we're going to stick to our game plan, and if a guy's open, I'm going to throw the ball. You don't have to mention his name like I'm not going to stay away from him. It's certain ways that you learn how to speak, to say what you're going to do, but not for it to allow it to become bullet board material, like you said, where it could rub a guy the wrong way.
And that's what I'm thinking, because like you said, the receivers are younger. They're young guys. These are not, you don't have the veterans over there to back your talk up. You got KJ Hamler's a rookie, Judy's a rookie, and Trey Patrick is just really breaking the starting lineup. And Trey White actually, didn't he pick him off twice last year? Not Lock, but Denver. It's a thing, man. I wouldn't do it, but hey, I like the kid heart, man. I like it.
I mean, I get it. I mean, you don't have to back down, but you don't need to poke no bears either, man. That's like me going to a game is, hey, I'm about to lock Aaron Donald down, like as a guard, right? Hey, I ain't worried about Aaron Donald. You got to worry about me, right? It's just certain stuff. Like, yeah, I know you feel that. You should feel that. But I don't need to say that, right? I don't need to give Aaron Donald any extra motivation to embarrass me on national TV. Mm-hmm. So that's what I'm saying. This is right ways. Hey, yeah, I'm going to come out here, and I have a lot of respect for Aaron Donald, but I'm going to just stick to my technique and compete all game, right? You said the same exact thing without almost coming across disrespect. Right. Or inciting a guy to say, okay, well, I'm about to ramp it up on him. He think he can block me. Right. You know what I mean? So it's about growth. And he's a young quarterback. Has a lot of moxie, still trying to prove himself. And somebody, when people ask you questions, man, I'm going to throw at Trey White, but not really even thinking it through. So just having better awareness. But, he's young, and depending on what Tre'Davious White does, I mean, he's probably going to get asked about it after the game, and then there'll be a lesson learned.
Right. I got a feeling this usually comes back to backfire on young quarterbacks. I think Trey's going to have one pick. They're going to have one pick this game. I'm just saying, it usually comes back to backfire on young quarterbacks. But I want to touch on the Denver running game really quick, and then we'll get to your three keys to the game, and we'll wrap it up. the two-headed monster in Phillip Lindsay and Melvin Gordon. Obviously, the Bills' defense have researched the last couple of weeks. They're actually only allowing, I believe, 68 rushing yards per game since their bye week at this point in time.
Yeah.
Gordon's a little banged up. What do you see in this Denver running game, and what Buffalo got to do to kind of stop it there?
Well, I think for Buffalo, they just have to continue to play well up front, right? I think that's been the biggest difference that has really popped out at me is the way this defensive line is reestablishing the line of scrimmage and playing on their side of the line of the ball. And so making these teams and these running backs have to make a cut before they want to make a cut, or tripping a guy up or making a play in the backfield, or you throw their timing off to where now the guard can't climb up to Tremaine or AJ or Matt, whoever's in at the time, to prevent them from coming downhill and making plays in the backfield. And so they just have to continue to do that. I mean, because nobody on the offensive line scares you. So they just have to continue to play cohesive, gap sound. That's what it's really been. And then even sometimes when guys get out of the gaps, you can see now guys stepping up and making plays and not and getting guys on the ground and not allowing a run that may squirt for 7 or 8 to turn into an explosion play. So that's what they have to do. I mean, because this is, a downhill zone scheme, and it's, the biggest thing is that you don't want to run sideways. And what I've seen lately is the kryptonite to a zone scheme is getting up the field, knocking guys back, and that's what the Bills' defensive line has to continue to do.
Well, they're playing well. Safety's playing well. We got that outside linebacker in Tremaine Edmonds playing great in the middle, as you want to call it that. Wink, wink. But, hey, let's wrap it up. Let's get to your 3 keys to the game. How do Buffalo win this game? What we got to do to get this dub and stay at the top of the AFC East?
Yeah, I mean, it's really not too much for this team. I mean, this is the team they should beat, right? On paper, the way they're playing right now, this is a team they should beat. So I think that the biggest thing, especially after playing a Pittsburgh Steelers game that just got maybe a little chirpy, a lot of energy out there, primetime game. Obviously, this is another primetime game on Saturday, is come out with the energy that is deserving or command that you command as being a contender, right? So you don't want to have a letdown energy-wise. Sometimes that can happen after beating a team like a Pittsburgh, shorter week. Team is not as good, obviously. And so you have a letdown. So the biggest thing is coming out there, establish yourself energy-wise, playing hard, and bringing your own juice, which Sean always talks about. I think it's significant. 2 is just still working on that run game, ground and pound. I would like to see some more explosion plays out of the run game. Just continue to work that facet because I think it's going to be so critical as they continue to play into the playoffs, bad weather games, and who knows what the weather's going to be like on Saturday. Do you have the weather report yet?
No, I don't have it. I can look it up though while you're going on.
Yeah, so I think that'll be significant as well. And then defense, just continue to grow with the little things. So a couple of things, break down, making sure that you minimize like just communication stuff, because at this point, that's all that's really going to beat this Bills defense the way they've been playing. Guys getting off the ball, playing well, elite. Tremaine Edmonds, the resurgence of Matt Milano back in, who had some big plays last week. You have guys picking the ball off. Tre'Davious Levi had one big last week, 2 weeks ago with Micah Hyde. So these guys are starting to get their hands on some balls. And so with that, the way you continue to tighten the vice grip, per se, is by now eliminating some of the little things that kind of get out, whether it's a communication on bunches or rub routes. So making sure that you're refining the small little things, because as these games get more important, especially when we enter the playoffs, those are the things that beat you, because everybody's good. Obviously, everybody has talent, but those little things and making sure you minimize, again, making sure a 4 or 5 yard pass play doesn't turn into a 20-yard pass play because we got 2 guys on 1 guy and we had to rally to the ball. Or a run gets out because, I didn't know that safety was coming down. So just continue to refine those things, and that would be great to win this game, because this is a game they should win. I know it's an NFL team, but we all know they should win. So you have to work on those little things that's going to take you to the next level. So, win this game, but you have a bigger picture in mind as far as the teams you're going to be playing and how well you need to be playing in order to beat them in the playoffs when it's all or nothing.
Just a little tidbit here. There's been 3 times this year where you said this is a game that the Bills should win. You're 3-0 in those games so far. So just a little tidbit. Those stat line right there. But as far as the weather, it's supposed to be a low of 24, high of 46. Clear throughout the day and 7-mile-per-hour wind. So it's like it's going to be a good game.
That's going to be a nice game. That's a nice day. Nice winter day.
Yeah. So, hey. But guys, make sure you're getting out and checking out I got the PayPal link to the Avalon Aces Foundation thing for Zach. You and Zach Moss. You want to shout out one more time real quick?
Please, right. Yeah. So just me, Thurman, and obviously Zach partnered up to raise money for the Lackawanna Life Center. Zach is going to be donating his cleats that were made by this young man locally. So it's really cool to go on the website, lorenzoalexander.org. You also have a link here that you can get to the page, check them out, and we will continue to do things like this throughout the year. So hopefully, whether I sign a jersey or Thurman signs some memorabilia and doing some other cool stuff that we can continue to help raise money for Western New York families in within our community. So definitely appreciate everybody that supported already and that will support in the future.
All right. Well, Zoe, that is a wrap. I want to thank everybody tuning in. I'm your host, JT, my co-host, Lorenzo Alexander. We'll catch you guys next week. Hopefully, we got 11 dubs next week, baby. We'll catch you guys next week. Make sure you take care of your dogs. Catch you later.